This is T.Y. Jackson.
United States Women's Champion Chelsea Green.
How you doing, people?
And I love pro wrestling.
I love pro wrestling.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to the Brunch Gimmick. I am Laurence Kurtz. We are live. Another big week in wrestling, as yesterday was AEW Wrestle Dream.
Hi, I'm Maxine Dupree.
And I'm Otis.
Hi, I'm the Sweetest Pea, Christara.
Mars, the specialist.
And I love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And we
love wrestling.
Bottoms up, brains on. Welcome to Quizplex here on Love Wrestling, your pro wrestling trivia charity show. My name is Zach Ralph. I will be your host.
This is God's gift to wrestling, Michael Richard Blaze.
We are the Usos.
This is Rachel Ellering.
And we love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
Hello, love wrestling. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. And you all know what that means.
Well, you better know by now. It's episode 235 of this thing.
I guarantee you there's like an 85% chance that's not an accurate number.
Hi, this is Shaz McKenzie.
This is Big Bad Boris.
This is the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
If you're here, thanks for being here. It's for Exposure, Love Wrestling's Independent Weekend podcast, where we break down all the best happenings on the world of the independent wrestling side.
I'm Penta, I'm wrestling, and what?
I'm the alternative Anthony Green.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
And I love wrestling. I love wrestling. And you know what? Pentacero.
That's called scatting, kids. It is 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is time for a excitingly fun, I hope, episode of Saturday Night Love. My name is Big Bad Boris.
I'm Big Ben Ortmans.
Hi, this is Smiley Kylie Ray.
I'm Miss Guy.
And I love wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
Of course.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is the Brunch Gimmick, and I am Laurence Kurtz, and I am formerly dead inside. Nothing could hurt me anymore. I just watched the worst people on earth beat Canada in hockey. My team lost. There is no joy. The Kachuk brothers, somehow two brothers, medical marvel, share one brain cell and one original idea, and they once again win a thing. Nothing is joyful about today. other than my guest, which I'll be throwing to in a minute, I did have a great week though. I want to thank everyone at C4 Wrestling for having me out. The C4 Just Bring It All Women show, I think, is going to be dropping on IWTV on Tuesday. If you have IWTV, do yourself a favor, check it out. It was a great show from top to bottom. It was so much talent. Like, I've long been talking about the amazing talent just coming out of Montreal right now. Like, at that show, 3 people from Bailey's Lodestone School were there, 2 of them being from the IWS dojo. It was an absolutely stacked card. I had so much fun there. I got to see our good friend Jill Pearl from Fightful, and also a good friend Veda Scott. We got to chop it up a little bit. Got to talk to a lot of people backstage. A lot of fun. I had a great time. It was the show top to bottom, absolute banger. But yeah, I was quite happy to go there in Ottawa. The venue was amazing, so beautiful. Like, I think it's well worth everyone's time to check out just the level of independent wrestling, not in Canada, but like you had Ali Catch return to C4 from her injury. That was huge. Billy Starks being there had an absolute banger of a match. Well, actually, Joel Pearl's mom was in the audience and was we were looking again. She was quite enjoying that match. It was absolutely great. But we do have a guest today, so I won't gab for too long. We have a lot to talk about. He's a singer, songwriter, as well as a big wrestling fan in his own right. I want to everyone welcome to the show, Adam Kirkup. Adam, I'm gonna throw you on. There we go. I'm a professional. How you doing? How was your week?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I could be better. If they could have scored on 3 empty nets. They had 3 empty nets, the most well-paid players in the world. I'm not going to go through it right now. Oh my God. It's losing to literal bad guys is what's killing me.
Yeah, it's the hope that kills you, man.
Yep, every time. And no matter what sport, it's going to be seeing that picture of the empty net and just him just missing it. It's going to kill me. But other than that, how was your week?
Yeah, it's been okay. It's like a week off school this week in the UK. So I've been doing that classic, realizing that I haven't made any plans for my kids and I'm trying to work from home and be an international music superstar. So it's a juggle. It's a juggle, but it's nearly over. Tomorrow's Monday. The UK's got their record Winter Olympics medal haul.
Yeah.
Which is 5. It's 5 medals. So, it is what it is. But it's our best ever.
Yeah, and that's great. Like, everyone loves England. But yeah, it was a fun Winter Olympics. We won't harp too much on that. I'm very excited to have you. We've been trying to get you in here for a while now. Also, like, just thinking, like, you can easily just tell your kids, I'm an international music star every time there's something missing. Excuse me. But yeah,
they're not convinced by that. They're pretty good at keeping me humble.
Yeah. I've got new music in the chat. Hello. Hope you're having a great weekend. All right, let's start off like we start off all the time. What was your first, like, when did you first become a wrestling fan?
Yeah, so I've got 2 older brothers.
Yeah.
Obviously grew up in the UK, which you can probably tell, in the 90s. And I remember they had like a WWE ring and thanks. And some wrestling figures. And I distinctly remember Sergeant Slaughter and Bret Hart. And so Bret Hart was the first guy that as a kid of maybe like 6 or 7, I was like, okay, this guy is a wrestler. So he was the first person I was aware of. And over in the UK, I think we had access to WCW, but I never watched it. So I was like a dyed-in-the-wool WWF guy from that point. And then, I was a kid during the Attitude Era. So then when I started watching it for myself, it was Foley and Steve Austin. And so the first, I remember like getting the big family computer you know, when it was a moment.
Yeah.
Used to get a computer. And the first website I ever went on was WWF. The wrestling, not the animal charity.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I wanted to see, but I was like, all of humanity is now at my fingertips. What should I do? Check out WWF, see what's going on.
I was much the same way. I was much the same way. Is like one of the I don't think it was one of the first, like literally one of the first websites when we got our computer. Like I used to watch the pay-per-views on the internet and it would buffer all the time. Like the internet streaming was way bad in the early 2000s, like late, like the early beginnings of like internet streaming. But yeah, having like being always like, especially for like shows I don't have on my cable package, like SmackDown, like reading the results and the spoilers online. Generally part of it. Yeah, you said your first, like the first wrestlers you first got into were like when your brother was Bret Hart. What was it about Foley that brought you, that like drew you in? Because I'm much the same way. Like, he's legitimately my guy.
Well, I think I was the youngest of three, so there's always like an underdog story there, and so I'm always going to love an underdog wrestler. But Foley, particularly Mankind, because I think like 98, I was 10 years old, so when Hell in a Cell happened, he was just weird, man. He was a weird guy, and that was fun. And like I was kind of a like nerdy, poetic kid, played the clarinet, like would spend most of my time reading. And so I guess there's some attraction there of this like outsider weirdo guy who's kind of softly spoken, but then just an absolute maniac. And it was crazy. Like, and the things he did obviously were insane, which helped.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you could talk about Foley in like 3 or 4 different ways, because you can talk like the 3 different faces and the like different versions of just Mankind that he had. Like, so you said Mankind was your favorite. How are you feeling within Dude Love and Cactus Jack?
Yeah, well, because I'd never, like, my entry into wrestling was through WWF.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people who were like ECW fans or whatever were deep in the lore of Cactus Jack and Dude Love. So I now appreciate it a lot more, I think. Like, you know, that Royal Rumble where he comes in 3 times. Like now I've rewatched that with a couple of decades of hindsight, and I'm like, this is amazing. I didn't really understand anything at all at the time about like who Cactus Jack and Dude Love were, but the Cactus Jack storylines were all incredible in the way that everyone just reacted. Like, okay, no, this guy's a psychopath. Like, like the stories all made sense on that level so instinctively. Like the Triple H Cactus Jack thing, you're like, okay, this guy's a psycho. Like, it makes sense. So Mankind's my guy. But I can appreciate, and you know, now I've met all 3 faces of Foley and sung a duet on stage with 2 of the 3.
Yeah. You're just missing the last one. And we'll
I'm missing Dude Love.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think the main difference between like Mankind and Cactus Jack, it, like, to put it in like sort of assembly, is the Mankind will kill himself to win a match, whereas Cactus Jack will murder you to win a match. Yeah. It's so like, to like the one of the moments that I always think about, which we'll get into the Hell in a Cell as well too, for obvious reasons, but like just when before the street fight with Triple H, where all he did was take off his shirt to reveal that he's Cactus Jack now. And again, like, had anyone laughed, it would have been anything, but like the fact the whole audience immediately knew that, oh, we're about to see a murder. He's not carrying it. Like, there's no fucks given anymore. He's about to like absolutely throw hands. Just the magic of how he established that character in 2 different companies. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I also want to talk about, at the same time, were you already heavy into music when you're getting into wrestling as well?
Yeah. So I grew up around a lot of music, which isn't that unusual, I guess. But my dad wrote a few like school musicals and things, like school shows, and he was a writer. So the idea of like writing songs was pretty normal in my house. So I probably started as a really young kid, and then like any normal teenager, just got like super into the music I was into, which was fairly varied. And I'd never thought about writing wrestling songs though until until much later. But I've always done music, and I was like, as a teenager, I probably like got out of watching wrestling, just as I was getting into like playing in bands and trying to impress girls, and never really succeeding at either. But, I realize now there's such a huge like kind of wrestling music adjacent scene. Like, there's a lot of weird kind of lo-fi folky people making wrestling music, which has been one of the gifts of the last like few months of the internet, which can be good sometimes, of discovering all these people, and people are making really cool music.
At what point did you like find your sound in music? Like, how did you know, like, I want to do more folksy music? And,
pretty recently, I think. So I'm like in my mid 30s, clinging on to that, not in my late 30s yet, and probably pretty recently. So I came up in like punk bands and kind of math rock stuff, which I love. I still love listening to, and there's a real like freedom in being the singer in that kind of setting where you get to be a character, you get to be a version of yourself. So that's why I think there's a lot of kind of parallel with the way that pro wrestling works, and that when it's good, you're just being an exaggerated version of yourself. And so I loved that. I wasn't great at it though, and I've so it's taken me a long time. And then so I went to university and had a family really young, and so then music kind of went on the back burner for me for a while, and it wasn't then really until like the last few years I started writing songs that I just wanted to write, that I'd like give to friends as gifts and things. And so then there's no pressure to like fit them into any particular category or genre, or for them even to be good or marketable or anything. So, and then I discovered, what I really like is this kind of wordy, kind of quirky storytelling stuff for now, which fits in this folky world. Making guitar music is also a lot cheaper than being in a band. Where like getting a full band recording together, I don't need to organize any other musicians. I don't know if you ever tried to organize musicians, but we don't take very well to it. So it's working for me for now. And I think if I think back to a lot of the music as a kid that I was like, oh no, this is really moving me in a way that I probably didn't understand. It was like Paul Simon and Don McLean and Bob Dylan and all these people who were like telling you a story. So it's taken me a while. It's taken me a little while. A good, like 30 years of making music in some form to find it works for me.
I was literally just about to ask you about that. What were some of your other musical influences? You mentioned you started out in punk rock. Like, what were some of the bands that you were listening to, and like some of the other like folksy singers too as well? So I think I probably started in the same way as a lot of teenagers. So it was like pop punk, and like, you know, going from Blink-182 and Green Day to then like, okay, what are their influences? And then just getting gradually more kind of heavy and esoteric. And in the noughties, there was a big wave of like UK post-hardcore bands who were really heavy and technical and like screaming a lot. And I think I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, this is loud. This makes me feel something in my teenage brain. So bands, and I don't know if any of them like made it to Canada, but like
There's a band called 100 Reasons, who were like the poster boys of UK post-hardcore.
Yeah.
And there was something about that as well, of like this kind of heavy, fast music where you could sing about weird stuff and you could sing about your life, and it wasn't the kind of jokey pop punk thing. It was a bit more meaningful. I loved all that. I loved kind of storytelling songwriters as well. I'm a huge Bright Eyes fan, which probably comes across in a lot of my music, but I think he's the guy for me. Conor Oberst is probably one of the best songwriters of our generation, and he could probably make some good wrestling music.
As someone who myself, not a musician, my brother very much was or is. He's been in so many hardcore bands, I'm losing count. I understand at least peripherally, the frustration at times, like getting people to tour and to record together. That is something I understand. I'm sure is a lot easier now, where you're just pretty much one man and a guitar.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That's the thing with hardcore bands. They all seem to be in each other's bands as well, right? They'll be like a little scene and they're all just in each other's bands, which is great. I'm all for that.
Yeah, it builds a great community.
Yeah.
Sort of the same thing as wrestling. And you mentioned that it was a recent thing. When did you first have the idea to bring in two of your passions together for music?
Yeah, for sure. So I was at a songwriting retreat, like literally last summer, and I was having breakfast with a guy, and I was like, "Oh, I really want to write a song about wrestling." And what in my head, I was like, I want it to be this kind of love song about two like wrestlers. And he was like, "Oh, just do it." And I was like, okay. So what that ended up being was like I ended up writing a song called Intercontinental Title, which is essentially a song about growing up with my brothers, and like wrestling is really just a vehicle in the song for talking about like, you know, having brothers. And so I just started sharing like clips of it on Instagram, whatever, and it wasn't really doing anything at all out of the ordinary. And in the process of doing it, I just like written down wrestling matches and wrestling terminology and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe there's something in this. And so I was like, what other wrestling stories would be worth telling? And so I tried to write one about Rey Mysterio winning the Royal Rumble, and a few things that I'd kind of missed. So I have a son who's really into wrestling now, and so because of him, I've kind of got back into it in a big way. But there's kind of a big gap in my knowledge in the middle, where I knew who Roman Reigns was and John Cena and all these guys, but like beyond that, I don't really have much. So I've gone back and rewatched stuff, and I was like, well, there's all this stuff that makes a good story, but what is like the big one for me? And that was the Hell in the Cell 98 one. So I was like, well, I'm going to write a song about it. I'm going to sit down and think like, what does it mean for me and what can I do? So I watched it again, and I was like, I'm going to write down some lyrics from the commentary, anything that stands out that I'm going to write down. And I realized I got to the end of it and I'd written down every single line of Jim Ross's commentary. And I was like, well, if all the lines are good lyrics, why don't I just make all the lyrics the commentary from the song? But it was just like a dumb idea. Like I had no intention of it ever being anything more than that. And so recorded it pretty badly, put it on Instagram without doing any of the proper stuff that you should do on Instagram. Like the captions weren't great and all that stuff. And clearly, I think that particular match caught people's imagination because it's such a big moment in a lot of people's lives. Like I think there's a few wrestling matches for wrestling fans the way you're like, okay, this is like a moment. So very recent, and mainly because I was boring somebody over breakfast and they're like, just do it. Just do it. So I did. But you never know with the internet what people are going to like. It's crazy.
Like it is weird how stuff catches on. And like I was backstage at an independent show the other day, and we were just talking. Like one of the bookers trying to figure out what would like one of the clips of the shows would go viral, and I immediately told like there's one immediately where broke containment where everyone knew about it was one of the wrestlers just sort of threw himself through a door, Cecil Nix. And literally, we were walking back from backstage, and that wrestler was there, and a security guard who barely watches wrestling stopped him, being like, "Are you the guy that threw yourself through that door that time?" Like, that was the funniest clip. So you never know what hits. You mentioned you started rewatching with your son. How has that been? And have you like gone back and showed him some old stuff as well? Like, we're very lucky now to have like entire libraries at our fingertips.
Yeah, for sure. It's been great. I mean, I think there's something very special about not just wrestling, but like music or books or any sport, that you're watching it so much in the context of who you're with and what you're doing. So it's been really lovely in that respect. But so we like pretty religiously now watch Raw and SmackDown on a Tuesday and a Saturday because they're really late at night in the UK. But then we've gone back. So we read through a book which is like a history of wrestling in the 20th century by Jim Smallman, shout out. And so in there's loads of like great like 10 best promos, 10 best matches, and so we'll go back and watch those together. And it's been really fun. So like the other day he was like, I want to watch Money in the Bank 2011. So we watched the CM Punk John Cena Money in the Bank 2011 match. It's been really fun. But we're still like, I'm still very much in WWE world. But I guess the thing that's different now is that if you watch like 3 reels about WWE, then you're inevitably going to get like AEW and AAA and all this other stuff, Progress, and like a loads of the kind of UK shows coming up in your feed as well. So I feel like I'm slowly opening up to this world that threatens to potentially take over my life.
Once again, it's like a harboring cloud right over. Have you gone back and watched the Hell in a Cell match with your son, or are you just what were his thoughts?
Not only with my son who's 12, but also it's the first wrestling match my wife's ever watched as well. And also my mum, who's never watched a wrestling match in her life. That was the first one she's watched now. And she just messaged me. She was like, I just watched the Hell in a Cell match you've been singing about. It was horrible. No, I mean, obviously, if you're a 12-year-old kid, it's the best thing you've ever seen in your life. And it just keeps going. It just keeps like elevating and elevating the drama, and like it's so real. And so incredible. He loved it. I think you haven't yet learned all the like need to be sensible and risk averse and stuff. So my mum and my wife had different responses to watching it, but he loved it. And so we watched it together, and it's such a funny thing now because I have 2 kids and they will completely keep me humble. So we'll like when we watch it and then you get JR's line like good God Almighty, he's broken in half, and the kids will be like, oh Dad, your song, didn't you? Your song.
That wasn't very creative. That's literally what he said. Thanks, son.
But no, he loves it, and it's just such a joy watching like wrestling with a kid, because you get such a true review of it, such a true response to it. And so we've been to like a tiny little wrestling promotion in a sports hall with like 20 people around a ring, and he was super duper into it, even though he knows like the quality of that wrestling. Some of it was good, some of it was just like fat old men shouting at each other. But watching him watch the Cena AJ Styles match, that kind of love letter to wrestling match where they're throwing in every possible finisher, like he was standing up out of his seat. And I think you get such a true review of like is this getting over with, let's face it, like the target demographic, which is a 12-year-old boy. Conversely, any match with Gunther in, he's just devastated.
Not a Gunther fan.
Not
Not the fan of crushing his heroes.
No,
constantly one by one.
surprisingly not.
It's literally the both peaks of being a professional wrestling fan right there, especially a young fan, is like the joys of watching your heroes, then having the despicable villain just unstoppably crush your dreams every time.
Yeah,
like,
and it's really working.
Yeah. Oh, man, like he's doing such a he's the perfect person for that job. Like, it is really cool to see somebody come out of like the European wrestling scene, and once again like get huge success. Because like I'm from Montreal, you're obviously from the UK. People don't understand how hard it is to make the jump. Mostly because of the visa process is insanely hard, and to be able to make it to WWE is so cool. And like I am constantly like always blown away by him. So it is funny that your son 100% is working on it.
Oh yeah, no, he's been worked.
Yeah. Obviously we talked about it a little bit. How was the first time Mick Foley got in contact with you, or you found out, oh, he saw this and this is becoming a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously insane.
Yeah.
The whole thing was kind of crazy. So I was watching the views go up on this video, and I normally like anyone on Instagram, I share something, it'll get, I don't know, a few hundred, 1,000, maybe like if it's really good, I'm like, oh, 3,000. And so when it got to like 20 and 50, I was like, this is crazy. And then before Mick had seen it, there was like other people. So like a British comedian shared it, who's a pretty big name, and one of My Chemical Romance shared it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is insane already. And I feel like everything that happened I was like, if it was just that would have been incredible.
Yeah.
And then it just kept stepping up, and Colt Cabana commented on it. That was cool. Like Rene Paquette shared it, and yeah, it was. So Mick was off social media for a while, so it was his like socials assistant, shout out Kate, who messaged me and was like, "Oh, I've seen this. Just want you to know that Mick's seen it and he thinks it's cool, whatever." And when the first two videos had kind of blown up, I saw that Mick was touring in the UK, doing his 40 years of Foley like spoken word storytelling thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this timing is just too perfect. So I did a little kind of, and I think potentially Canadians and British people are quite similar on this, that we don't like asking people for things. But I was like, I'm going to have to do the like, everybody tag Mick and see if I can open his show. Obviously he wasn't using socials at the time. But a bunch of people were very kind and did that, and were like, no, you got to get this guy, because he was playing Liverpool, which is like half an hour from my house.
Yeah.
And then I got a message from Lindsay Hart, shout out, Canada's greatest makeup artist, a member of the Hart Wrestling family, and she was like, I will text Mick for you. And so she really is the person that made everything happen, which is incredible. But yeah, every single moment was just more insane than the last. And when I finally got a message from Mick's social media person from Mick, which was a screenshot of a text on Instagram DM, it was like, yeah, you can come and open the show in Liverpool. I was like, I had that moment where, you just don't know what to do with yourself. And I just kind of stood up and walked around in circles for a while. But it was mad. And then when I actually then got to meet him, like it was a few days later, and he was just like a totally normal dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're the guy that I watched kill himself off his cell, like when I was a kid. And yeah, you're just a normal guy.
Yeah. Like I've told the story on here before, but the first time I met Mick Foley was at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival here. And I was at the Just for Laughs award show sitting at a table. And when I tell you, it was a room full of like very big comedic names. It's the biggest comedy festival in the world. And when like everyone, like a bunch of people walk in, no one really cares. The second Mick Foley walked in, everyone stopped and like, oh my God, is that Mick Foley? Like there is a level of fame, and they, like you mentioned it, like there's a level of like things just being from people's childhood of that connection. Like a lot of people have that. Everyone at some point has seen Mick Foley, and it was one of the craziest things where like everyone stopped and like he was the most famous person in that room, and it was like you're all like you've got big name actors in here as well, like comedic actors, and no one like bat an eye. But my whole table was like, I can't believe Mick Foley's here. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to see that one man show. Have you seen him live before that date, or is that the first time?
No. So yeah, my first time seeing him was from backstage.
So, how long? Like, at what point did you know? Oh, they're not only is he going to have me out, I'm going to be performing for him. And what was the reception like from the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, what I've gathered from now, knowing him for like a month and a half or whatever, he's fairly free with like plans. Yeah. So the first night I was going to open the show because I'm this like unknown guy and it was in a music venue. It was in the Cavern, which is like legendary Liverpool venue, like the Beatles played there and all this stuff. But when we were chatting, he was like, no, we're going to close the show. You're going to close the show because everyone wants to hear me talk about Hell in a Cell. But rather than me talking about it, you're going to sing about it. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. You should talk about it. But I was not in a position to say no. So the first night, he does like a half of talking, telling all the stories, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And I've now heard it 4 times, and like the way that he changes it every time to like adapt to a different audience was amazing. And then he would have like Q&A and stuff afterwards. So I was like before the break. So he's done all this talking. He's did a lot of talking about Terry Funk. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to get a guy out and he's going to sing. And I reckon in that crowd of like 200 people, there were maybe 5 people who'd already heard it on Instagram or more. And then and the rest were just willing to go along with it because Mick Foley had asked them to.
Yeah.
And then so he leaves me on stage and I'm like, I feel pretty good about it. I'm playing at the Cavern Club. The Beatles have played here. People are mostly really friendly and nice. But then he comes back on stage and starts singing along with me. And then we're chatting about it afterwards. And he was like, yeah, I figured people would video and photograph you, but they'd do it more if I was there. And I was like, that is so cool. Just knowing like the humility to know like I have this ability to get people to photograph you and I'm going to use it. So that was incredible. And then he was like, yeah, come back tomorrow and we'll do it again. So we had two nights in Liverpool. It was just supposed to be one night opening. Then the next night he was like, okay, we've got this whole thing where like, we're going to do a duet. And so I was in the green room with him, like practicing, and he was like, I'm going to sing harmonies. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea either. He's pretty good. He sung with Norah Jones. So, I'm probably up there with Norah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, that night, he was like, I'm gonna sing harmonies. And so we did it as like a full-on duet that night. And then, he's incredible. He's just so gracious and kind and was like, invited me down to London to do a podcast thing. And I was like, Mick, I have a job. I have kids.
Yeah.
But so he was then like, right, what can you do? Which shows could you do? And I could do the Dublin ones. He was like, okay, I'll fly you out to Dublin. And by the last night, I was closing the show and it was his last like European show before heading back to the States. And we're in Dublin. And he was like, okay, what we're going to do tonight, it's going to be the end of the show. It's after the Q&A. It's the very last thing that happens. And I'm going to say there's a big surprise. And I'm just going to introduce you and then leave you on stage to sing about Hell in the Cell. And like he'd got a ringer in the crowd to like tee him up about Hell in the Cell. As like the final question.
What a worker.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's like a brilliant stand-up comedian opening for him. So he like asked the questions to tee him up. Chris Brooker.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, this is not good because all the crowds up to this point have been really on my side because like Mick Foley's told them to be, but now he's like left me on stage and he's just gone. But he then went into the bathroom got dressed up as Mankind and then came back out and like had a huge pop from the crowd, and then sang it in character as Mankind. And then we had like smoke machines and all sorts going on. So it really escalated pretty fast.
Yeah,
from that first text. It was amazing. Like, what an experience. And yeah, some great stories for me.
Yeah, even if it's like just those few performances with them, like it's an amazing thing. Like honestly, I was gonna ask, like, was it a surprise when he first came? But it's amazing that he actually fully surprised you coming out on stage the first time. To see that. We mentioned it. I actually have the video here of Hell's in Pittsburgh Tonight.
In this warm summer's night, there's a chill in the air. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. His scarred body, his missing half ear. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. He was born Mick Foley on Long Island, New York. But hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. When he gets in that steel, he'll feel right at home. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. What is he doing? Who knows what he's thinking? Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. This could be an omen. He's climbing, he's climbing. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Thank you. Ooh, good God Almighty, that killed him. As God is my witness, he's broken in half. Mick Foley, everybody. We need doctors out here. That was 16 feet high. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Well, it's hell in a cell. It's not a pretty sight. And hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. They're raising the cage. The match has stopped. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. The Undertaker is still on the top. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. The Lord of Darkness, he has ruled that hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. What else will Undertaker do? Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Ooh, good God Almighty, they killed him. Cause God is my witness, he's broken in half. Ooh, good God Almighty, they killed him. Cause God is my witness, he's broken in half. Well, he's smiling, he's going back up. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. A head by the right hand, enough is enough. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. What more can you do to a human being? Oh, hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. His shoulder is broken, he's bleeding, and hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. He's fixing to send him to hell and back, and hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. A sickening thud, choke slam on the tacks. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Ooh, good God Almighty, they killed him. Cause God is my witness, he's broken in half. Ooh, good God Almighty, they killed him. Cause God is my witness, he's broken in half. Well, he's crazy as hell. Oh, one tough SOB. And hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. The most ungodly match that you will ever see. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. They gave you their bodies, they gave you their souls. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. And of all that he's lost, he misses his mind the most. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. A standing ovation, how the hell can he walk? And hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. He was born Mick Foley on Long Island, New York. But hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Thank you very much, everybody.
That was Hell Is In Pittsburgh Tonight. Honestly, credit to you for being such a great performer, because having Mick Foley come up to you out of nowhere when you're not expecting it and continuing with the song and not breaking was amazing. All on its own. Truly a beautiful song too.
Thanks. It's fun watching that back because I think you can see me get less and less nervous
Yeah.
from the end. Yeah, it was. I also didn't know until I sang it in a room full of people that people thought it was funny, because I didn't think it was a funny song. But that line, like when it gets to the chorus and it's like, "Good God Almighty, they've killed him," like people laugh at it, and I'm like, okay, maybe people think that's a funny song, or maybe it's funny that there's like a folky guy singing it. But
yeah,
I didn't expect to get a laugh.
It is almost like the weird juxtaposition of such brutality and to set such beautiful music, and also like that match and that like commentary from JR is like so ingrained in wrestling fans' memories that like they could almost at times hear JR himself singing it to that music sometimes in their heads. Like, truly amazing. You mentioned earlier something I wanted to bring back up, that you've written other wrestling songs. Do you think you and New Music sort of mentioned in the chat here? Adam, have you taken notes from writing wrestling topic-driven songs from the Boys and the Mountain Goats?
Well, there's been a lot of Mountain Goats references in my Instagram comments, and I just want any similarity between my wrestling music and their album was purely coincidental. But obviously, like, John Darnell is one of the best songwriters in the world, so I'll take any comparison I can get. I've written a bunch of others, a few which are similar, so they're like just the commentary from the song. And the commentary from the match as a song. So there's like a Rock Steve Austin WrestleMania 19 one, and then a few which are more kind of folky storytelling. But then I started sharing like promos, turning promos into songs, which works really well because they're short and they fit into an Instagram reel. And again, people seem to have really strong connections to some wrestling promos. And people are really keen to share like what their favorites or what their least favorite is, or what's their favorite even though it's terrible. Like the Jumping Jeff Farmer promo has come up a lot, so I've shared that one recently. I've done a few. I've actually made a EP called Wrestling.
Oh, look at that!
You didn't even know I was gonna promote something, but it's up on my Bandcamp and stuff. And they're like, I've really enjoyed it, and I think these are just like super rough takes on my phone mostly. But there is more wrestling stuff to come. I've taken a little break over the last few weeks on Instagram, but I'll have to come back stronger. So let me know in the promos.
What did your kids think of when they saw you on stage with Foley, that they're just watching them on TV and their dad is right next to them and friends with them now?
Yeah, they probably wouldn't ever say it in words, but I think they're quite impressed, really, deep down. It's interesting because like I will have people who are like vaguely know, or like high school friends who I'm still connected with online, or a guy that I know in a bar yesterday was like, "Oh, I saw you with Foley," and it's it's really cool because it's just a nice connection point, but also it's like unearthing secret wrestling fans, which is super fun. But it's unreal, and I think it was super exciting, and it's lovely to have that connection with people where they're like, this guy was part of my childhood, and I get to sing on stage with him. Hopefully not for the last time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it will. I think if he's not coming back to the UK, he should definitely fly you out for a few shows.
Well, so we actually tried, but visas are crazy. Even if you're playing like a voluntary show, like it's and so I didn't want to risk it and then get banned from
exactly.
But yeah, hopefully. I mean, what I'm angling for right now is to get on the soundtrack for the Mick Foley biopic with Paul Walter.
Oh yeah, that is very exciting. Like the Paul Walter Hauser confirmed it. He also is an independent wrestler in his own right, which is crazy to have a like Golden Globe winning actor who is also weirdly dedicated to professional wrestling. Is awesome.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of his stuff. He's really he loves the game.
Yeah, like it is funny because it brings me back to like how the thing with Foley got started was just like random people who in bands and stuff you wouldn't think are wrestling fans, like that sort of like triggers them and they're like, oh man, this is my childhood right here, and they share it. And it is weird, like the community of wrestling, you never know who is a wrestling fan. So you're seeing people in bands you respect start sharing your stuff because they also, A, it's a beautiful song, and B, it also hits that nostalgia thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's been great. And yeah, if anyone knows anyone who's involved in the production of the biopic, send them my way. It's been really cool as well, though. So I did a little leg on a UK tour with a bunch of Canadian musicians recently, including friend of the show Mallory Chipman. But that was purely because they'd seen the wrestling stuff pop up, and the shows that we played were nothing to do with wrestling, and but they'd somehow through that invited me to play 3 shows with them in England, and it's been wild. I think people on the internet maybe are kinder and more generous than we might imagine. Some of them. Yeah. I would say the general level is a lot of online isn't real. And like a lot of people are nicer in person, like especially like in this weird community of like not only musicians but also wrestling fans. Yeah. And like I think they appreciate someone else out there, and it is like the weird little thing, like, oh, I didn't know you're a wrestling fan, like you're talking before, like just seeing somebody in a bar like randomly bring up your stuff and bring up that song, especially. I have one random question. Is there like another wrestler who you're like, I wonder if I could get him on stage to sing with me? Oh, okay. So there's some. I'm a big Joe Hendry believer, okay?
Yeah.
And he obviously does the music thing.
Yeah.
And is from the UK as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're like 2 degrees of separation away at this point. Yeah. And so I would love to do something with Joe Hendry. I mean, if I'm thinking my big childhood heroes, Jeff Hardy would be the guy. Also
touring musician in his own right.
Yeah, and it's really fun. So obviously him and Joe Hendry were doing like post-show songs for the crowd and stuff. That would be incredible. That would be cool. I mean, Chris Jericho came through the UK recently with Fozzy. I'm not sure how well we'd gel stylistically, but Jeff Hardy would be wild. Yeah. And if Kit Wilson keeps writing poetry, then
set it to music, and
maybe we can work something out there.
Yeah. New music saying she's do some stuff with the Wonder Years, who also do Becky Lynch's theme song.
Oh yeah.
Also, Mick Foley is a great dude. Met him at Indie Show. He is my personal Mr. Sacco on the show, as everyone has a personal Mr. Sacco on them at all times, just in case.
Man, I was on the merch booth, and there was people go wild for the Saccos.
Oh,
he loves borrowing people's gear though. Like, so he doesn't travel with a Mankind mask, but 2 of the nights he was like, I'm gonna transform into Mankind at some point. Somebody will bring one. And I'll borrow it from them. Like, it's just like, yeah.
There's one thing about my fans I know is one of them is going to be me 100%, at least 3 of them.
Absolutely. And it works. That's so cool though.
Yeah. Well, what is, like, as we wrap up, what has been the most surprising thing from this song taking off, and also people just being able to check out your other music as well? Like, what has been the biggest thing out of this for you that you've gotten so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised when anyone checks out the rest of my music because of the wrestling stuff, because there is a through line, like it's me and it's my style, but they seem like they're quite different worlds. So if anyone ever messages me and says, oh, I've listened to the rest of your music and I actually really like it, that's huge. I think also it shouldn't be surprising, but so many of these people who are like household names or whatever are just super good guys and are willing to go out of their way to help you. And I think that stuff with Mick, like coming out and being in the video with me, and I don't know if you notice in the video, he also kind of stands behind me because he's like a foot taller than I am. Yeah. But that whole thing of like he totally understood like the perception of it and just wanted to put me over. I think that's just so refreshing and cool. And I've been chatting quite a bit with Crazy Steve of TNA fame recently, and that's just cool as well, because like he started following me and I sent him some like dumb inane message, and we're just chatting about wrestling promos, and I was like, man, there are people out here who are well known and are just great, friendly people who want to chat wrestling and music, and that's been great. It's been really fun.
Just one more, like you mentioned the promos and how you have been saying the music on your Instagram, which I've been watching too, which they're all really good, legitimately. Like they have no right to be as good as they are. But what were some of your favorite wrestling promos?
Well, so growing up as an Attitude Era boy, anything Stone Cold Steve Austin said or did was gold, right?
Yeah.
And like even when it got to the whole like what era of stuff, I loved anything that he said. And maybe he wasn't like the best talker, but he was pretty good. Actually, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are big ones. I think having gone like now into like the best promos of all time, all that stuff. I was never a WCW watcher, but having now watched a lot of Dusty Rhodes promos, I'm like, I mean, it's just another level of like storytelling and poetry, and it's weird, and he has all these like strange affected things that he says and puts baby on the end of every sentence. I'm like, Dusty Rhodes is so cool.
Yeah.
And that like the View Never Changes promo, it's so poetic. I think a lot of Raven's promos, I'm like hoping to do some Raven promos. Like his WCW promo stuff is so poetic and weird.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't think we necessarily see now. Like what I really love about Kit Wilson is that he's doing something weird. And maybe it's not like entirely unique, but it's like it's different. And him reading his poetry that he's written and stuff is kind of, he's not trying to be cool. And I see like, I don't know, I get frustrated if people are doing promos and they're just trying to look cool.
Yeah.
Mick Foley never tried to look cool. You can accuse him of a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think Dusty Rhodes tried to look cool either. I think he really wanted to just tell a story and what he was doing.
Yeah.
So I love those guys.
What I find the interesting through line, which is true because it sets us up for folk music perfectly, is the fact like three of them have that southern twang to their voice, like like Dusty Rhodes. You had JR's commentary, Stone Cold Steve Austin. All like there's almost a sing-songy way that they do promos as well, so it fits perfectly to music.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much poetry in Jim Ross in the way he talks, and maybe I've been secretly longing to be a cowboy. Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's what we figured out in this interview.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, maybe I just give up this music thing move to the West, become a cowboy. I'm gonna let my family know.
Out West.
Yeah. Adam, thank you so much for your time. You've been very generous with me. Let everyone know where they can find your stuff, where they can find your socials and everything.
Yeah. Adam Kirkup. Kirkup on everything. You'll find me. Instagram, YouTube, streaming services, Bandcamp, Wrestling EP.
Adam, again, thank you. This has been such a joy just to discover your music, and I recommend, outside of Hell Is In Pittsburgh Tonight, listen to your entire discography. It is legitimately very, very good, and it's a joy to have somebody talented and also a wrestling fan and able to mix both together. Is really, really cool to see.
Oh, thank you so much. No, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you. As for everyone, we will be back here next week. We'll be recapping the Elimination Chamber, as it happens next Saturday. Do you have any Elimination Chamber picks? Do you know?
Oh man, I don't even know who qualified on SmackDown.
All I remember is Karina thing, the manager there qualified. But yeah, next week we'll be back live with the results of Elimination Chamber. We'll break that down. Adam, again, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. It's been great.
And we'll see you back here next week. Bye, everybody.